Hey everyone, and welcome to today's video. So we're going to be looking at changing the spark plugs on the F54. So for anyone that's had an F56 previously, it's pretty much the same thing. So we're going to be doing a video that actually you can use on your F54, F56, F57, as long as it's got the B48 2-litre engine that's in the Cooper S and JCW. It's going to be the exact same process. So from factory, these engines tended to come with two different plugs. First of all, you had the Champion plugs. They weren't as good as the NGK ones that came later. Now, if you buy them from MINI, they come on the same part number, which is not useful. Luckily, we know what the part number is and you can buy them on the aftermarket scene. So I'll put in the video now below the part number that you need for a set of 4 of these. Off the top of my head, I think they're about £40–50. Now, I don't know the service history of this car. Just there was no paperwork with it, and purely looking on the computer, it looks like it hasn't been serviced in years. So what we're going to do today is a number of servicing videos just to make sure we protect us and the engine. So easiest one first is spark plugs. Pretty much any DIY can do it, and you need 2 tools to be able to do it. So we'll show you those now. Okay, so when it comes to the tools, you're going to need a 14mm socket for spark plugs. Now, this is not the standard one you get in a tool set, so we'll put the details below, a link to where you can buy these as well. And you need a E8 Torx head again, and that's so that we can get the coils off. Okay, so first of all, let's get our tools down. We've got our spark plugs ready. Get this cover off, just pull that off. That pops off nice and easy, and it's just held on with little clips. Next, we've got the 4 coils. So let's get this bit of sponge just up and out the way so you can see each of the 4. They're looking rather dusty. They look cleaner this end than they do here. But let's start by unbolting the first one. Okay, that bolt won't come out. And all you do, pull that straight off. That popped off nice and easily. What we'll do 1 spark plug at a time so we don't forget. So we've got to come into the spark tube here with our spark plug tool. Place that in and on. You'll feel when it goes on to the spark plug, so I don't think this one's quite there yet. Yep. And then start undoing that. Okay. So we just keep going with that until we can get that out. And hopefully there's a little clip, and that's why spark plug tools are a little bit different, because they actually grip onto the spark plug. Now, I've had a bad experience with these tools before, so I'm going to be super careful where I've had the tool fall apart slightly and actually drop into the engine. So you have to be super careful whenever you go near the top of this engine. This one seems to have the world's longest thread. I forgot what it was like to do spark plugs. There we go. Pull that out, and we'll show you a close-up now of these spark plugs. Right, the one on the left is a brand new one. The one on the right is the one we've just removed. Now both are NGK, and if we look, the actual part code here is the same as the part code here. It's just when they're supplied from BMW, they have BMW written on them. That's the only difference, but those are exact same spark plugs. Okay, so what we're going to do now is make sure we slot that right into that until those little threads disappear. Well, they're not threads, but the splines disappear. So that's nice and safe and ready to go back in the engine. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll put the Newton meters, so the torque settings that you have to do spark plugs up to on the B48 engine. So that's going in nicely. You want to make sure you don't cross thread. So you just do it by hand, no tools at all to start with. Now that's gripped nicely. We can then use the socket just to do that back up. You can obviously use a torque wrench so you can get this to the exact precise torque settings, and we'll do that afterwards. For the sake of the video, we'll just get it done by hand. Okay, so just give that one little last bit of turn. And sometimes the socket, especially on this design, can get stuck. So sometimes you can pull at an angle. If not, you need a long nose pair of pliers and you're able to pull that out. So that's something to be wary of. But don't panic. You can remove that and that's in. Next, all we do, put the coil back in. Make sure it's in place. You can see the angle, so the wiring goes off to this side and you push that all the way down. Then all we need to do is take out E8 again, and again by hand to start with, get that bolt done up. Now if you're having a misfiring problem, these are common to have faults, so change your spark plugs first. If not, have a look at these. Okay, so that was how to change the spark plug, and we're going to just go along the bank now and do those in order. I'm not going to talk through every single one because it's exactly the same, so we'll do a bit of a time lapse now. Okay, so one of the things I want to draw your attention to now we're on the last spark plug is the box that they come in. So on the back here are instructions on what to do when fitting these. So it tells you whether you have to do a certain amount of turns, don't adjust, etc. in this particular way. If you feel nervous about the instructions I'm giving you, follow what's on the box. And if you're still not comfortable, don't DIY this job, take it to a professional. But I'm just giving you an idea of how you would do it if you need to do it yourself. So I'm told these are spaced from factory. You don't need to adjust the spacing or gapping, as I think it's called on a spark plug. I've had a few people on a previous video when I did spark plugs sort of question that. I've double checked and you do not need to gap these. If you want to, that's personal choice, but I'm saying I've been advised not to do it on this particular type of spark plug. So let's jump back into the engine bay and get that final one installed. Okay, so now we've fitted all 4 spark plugs. What I'd advise we do is just start the engine, make sure everything's running okay. Okay, so we just start that engine, make sure there's no misfires. Okay, so everything's running absolutely fine. That's cold start, so the exhaust is a lot louder on my car because we've got that aftermarket one. Everything's in place, so we check that all over again. If so, we can then make sure this sponge section goes back in the right place over the top here. So we press that in. Everything's done up. Obviously, you can go and torque it to spec, but for the purpose of the video, I've done it by hand. We get the engine cover back on. And again, all you do is the little nodules here, here, here and here line up. So again, you can use oil, fill a cap. And this sponge might be slightly out of whack and you just need to give it an adjust, but you should be close. There you go, and you get a nice satisfying click. Now if this sponge is out slightly, you can pull that into place and we're all done. So that's the spark plugs changed on the B48 within the F54. But again, as I said, you can do this on all this generation of Mini. As long as it's this engine, it will be exactly the same. Now, spark plugs is a DIY job for me, so I've been doing this literally since my first car. I've never been anywhere near as brave as what I am now in terms of tackling jobs on the car. But even me, at a young sort of 17, 18, I was cleaning spark plugs and changing them. No problem whatsoever, because you need just the basic tools. I know you need something slightly different from a normal tool set in terms of the spark plug socket, but even then they are readily available at every sort of garage store or any sort of online retailer, so you'll be able to get hold of them easily. If you found today's video useful, please hit that like button, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get alerts every time we upload new content. Thanks for watching and we'll see you in the next video.